What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode. Uh, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Speak Up Sports Podcast with Cass, Chris, and Shad. What's going on, fellas?
What's up?
What's going on, man?
That's how Joy and like Paul Pierce and Keyshawn be before they start. They show every single show.
What you mean?
Just laughing about some stupid shit that happened right before you go on air.
That nigga Paul Pierce probably be saying some crazy shit.
Honestly.
But man, we just got hit with some big news in the past 2 days. We obviously just had another week of the NFL season, getting closer and closer to the midseason. Honestly, the weeks have been kind of flying by. Obviously NBA is about to start on Tuesday, so we're getting into a little bit of that, but we got to go ahead and start off with the trades, man. Davante Adams finally gets traded to the Jets from the Las Vegas Raiders. And Amari Cooper ultimately ends up on the Bills from Cleveland. What did you guys think of the trades? Do you guys want to compare them? How do you want to do it?
It's funny that they happen like so close to each other. I mean, the same day, especially after the game that they just played against each other. Almost like the Bills kind of won up the Jets. That's kind of how I took it. But yeah, what do you think about it, Chris?
I mean, it was interesting. It's the fact that, like you said, it's the two teams just play each other. You got the same position. Both could obviously use the upgraded position. So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see. We've been talking about the Davante Adams eventually getting traded this past couple of episodes we had. I don't know if anybody would have predicted Amari Cooper mid-season trade, but it's looking bad for Cleveland. So I don't know what their next move going to be.
Yeah, I mean, Amari Cooper they've been flirting with trading Amari Cooper. Obviously, there was some rumors about him getting traded with when there was the whole Brandon Ayuk saga. But it is interesting that it happened. Obviously, just they both, like you said, they both played on Monday night, and then immediately on Tuesday, really morning, they both kind of hit back to back. It's funny to see that Amari Cooper went for a third rounder when Dallas obviously traded him away for a sixth. But I kind of like the Amari Cooper. I mean, we obviously talked about Davante Adams enough, and I've made my feelings hurt about like how I felt. I mean, it's cool to see him obviously get to play with Aaron Rodgers again. See how it will change their offense. Obviously, they did play a little bit better or seemingly better on Monday night. Maybe it was just a different sense of energy, and they obviously hit a Hail Mary. But I really like Amari Cooper going to the Buffalo Bills. I don't know, some people have tried to say he hasn't been as good, obviously over the past couple of years, especially this year. But the quarterback throwing to him as well. So we'll see about that. But which player do you think will make the biggest impact?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna say I'm gonna stick with what you just said, Shai. I mean, I think Amari Cooper probably make the biggest impact. I mean, he's been known to not be quote unquote a diva, but he's an excellent receiver. He's not gonna cause any issues. I think him going to the Bills is not gonna cause no rift in as far as their receiver core. I mean, he will be their number one guy, but he's not gonna, I don't think he's gonna command like that kind of, I guess, just asking for, more targets or whatnot. He's not going to become a malcontent in there. Not saying Davante Adams will be, but I think that's a perfect situation for him in Buffalo, where he can go in there and, make plays that come to him and not actually be trying to, ask to be force-fed the ball.
15 targets a game.
Yeah, he's not. He's not about to do all that. Now, Davante Adams on the flip side, they do have obviously chemistry there with him and Aaron Rodgers, but I just want to know how Garrett Wilson gonna feel. This is supposed to be his kind of like wide receiver core as far as he's supposed to be the leader, and then you bring in Davante Adams, then you got the quarterback who's already there, took a shot at one of the receivers that they're obviously trying to trade now. I don't know how that's gonna look, but it'll be interesting to see though.
That's my kind of. I'm not really worried about that too much. I think it's more about the creativity of the offense for the Jets and how that will be able to feature both of them if there is any creativity with their offense coordinator situation. So there's a way to feature both of them. Will they? Remains to be seen. You got games where we saw in the past where Gary Wilson just got targeted a couple of games ago, 23 targets in the game, shit like that. Like that's not a good formula. It's just, but I gotta say Amari Cooper. There were last two games especially, and we talked about this in our chat. Way too many targets to Mac Hollins. Way too many, way too many targets to Mac Hollins. That is not the guy. Chris, he played with y'all too. He's not that guy. He's not. He's a good run blocker. He can catch it. I mean, they were throwing down the field to him. Of course, that ain't it. It just ain't it. I don't think they completed one pass down the field to him. He had like 4 or 5 targets last couple of games like that. But I think Amari Cooper for sure. He's that outlet that Josh Allen can use, especially. Khalil Shakir is getting back right. He didn't really do too much last game, but of course he'll be like the second in the order. But I think it allows him to kind of feature him in a more gadgety role, kind of what he was used to last year as well, like picking up when they had Diggs. So I think Amari Cooper is the biggest one, the biggest addition out of the two.
Okay, here y'all. It will be interesting to see because the Jets. The Jets kind of easy part of the schedule if you want to say there is any easy games for them, depending on what your outlook on the Jets is starting to come up. So it'll be interesting to see over the next couple of weeks. But with Garrett Wilson, I mean, I feel like he should be good. I mean, he played in obviously it's college, so it is a little different, but he played in a system with, hella first round receivers. So, I mean, competition is competition. At the end of the day, everybody can eat if Aaron Rodgers is doing what he's supposed to be doing.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
But getting into the games, man, what did you guys think of this past week? What was your biggest takeaways from the week?
Go ahead, Chris.
Man. Biggest takeaway. I gotta go there, bro. Dallas got they ass whooped. I'm sorry. I mean, yeah. That's probably one of the most disrespectful ass whooping this whole season. It's really on par with, even though they didn't drop that many points, they could have. It's on par with the 70 piece that Miami did the Broncos last year. Because I mean, goddamn, it was no resistance. And I understand the defensively for Dallas not having, Michael Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence. They're missing a few pieces, but offensively to not be able to put up points, just kick 3 field goals throughout the whole game, that is not good. That was not good at all. Bad performance.
I mean, we all know the Dallas got their ass beat. I won't talk about it too much, but it is looking a little dark over there in Dallas. It does suck though for the Lions. Of course, Hutch snapped his leg, out for the season after he was in the lead for sacks. I think and pressures, but
really everything.
It was definitely a big loss for them. It's kind of like, and the worst part about that is, and I think somebody else got hurt on the line. I can't remember who it was. It wasn't like a big injury, but they were up like 36-9 at that point or something like that when Hutch went down. So it's like that's the real tough part. You were already blowing them out. The game was already over.
But it's because the game was fucking long as hell, bro.
They
was up quick, and then it was just like they were just out there running. Really,
it'd be like, it was a long game.
Bro, that game went the whole. But I mean, they knew. I mean, I guess they knew that was supposed to be the big game. You had Tom Brady on the call again for the Cowboys, and they probably wanted to make it some type of the other game was going quick, so they're really the only game on. But go ahead and continue.
But I mean, other than that game. Well, let's talk about the Ravens-Commanders game. Of course, that was one of the highly touted games going into the week, and it kind of lived up to it in a way. You saw good things out of both teams, good things out of both quarterbacks. Zay Flowers came up huge in that game, which not surprising because we all talked about the Commanders' defense. But they actually weren't terrible. The game was closer than I thought it would be, and I kind of came from that game looking like the Commanders might be like for real. Like it's like I don't think this shit is a joke. Like, they are a good team in this league. It seems like good enough by comparison, going forward. So I like what I'm seeing out of Commanders. I mean, I didn't expect to go into the season. I didn't have them in the playoffs, but shout outs to them for real. But of course, the Ravens are just a tough. They're you see them when they clicking on all cylinders. It's tough to do anything with them.
Yeah, offensively, and I mean they kind of like played to a match. I mean, like you said, but I mean they were both quarterbacks played well, but obviously Derrick Henry and how he's playing right now is nobody. Once it gets to the end of the game, I mean they don't want to tackle that man. They see him coming down here and they getting out the way. They was getting out the way anyway, kind of like Dallas. Making a lot of business decisions. We seen Trayvon Diggs
a couple times. Like,
they
said
the only thing he digging in is his ass. Bruh, that Twitter shit be crazy, bro. They be trying niggas, but I mean, shit, we got to talk about the Bears too. Obviously Caleb Williams kind of had, I don't want to say his, I mean, yeah, kind of his breakout game. The offense obviously was clicking on all cylinders. They were able to put up 35 points on the Jacksonville Jaguars. I want to say we all picked them to win as well in London.
Chris picked Jacksonville, actually.
Yeah.
So
Caleb obviously having 226 yards, 4 touchdowns. Keenan Allen finally got in the action as well, catching 2 touchdowns. Cole Kmet coming down with 2 touchdowns. Do you guys think that Caleb is kind of, for most of the, I mean, I would still say, and we'll kind of get into that in a little bit, but Jaden Daniels is kind of in the lead for Rookie of the Year. But what do you guys think about Caleb and how he's been playing over the past few weeks?
I mean, I guess for me, it's good to see that that he's, progressing each and every week. He's not falling by the wayside after, rough, first 2, maybe even you say 3 weeks. And his schedule is favorable for the rest of the year to be able to outside of the divisional games for the rest of the year to be able to string together good games. So he's turning the corner for me. We're gonna see how he act though. We're gonna see.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of guessed it would go this way. He's playing good. He's not fucking it up, which is a big thing, especially when you have a good defense like they have. And that's kind of why I have in the playoffs to begin the season. Like, I knew this defense would be good enough to where if Caleb is just using his weapons, they'll be good enough. And it's kind of what you see so far. Of course, like Chris said, like, they haven't played any divisional games, and that definitely seems like the best division in the NFL right now. So it's going to get interesting coming up on this latter half of the season. But so far, so good for Caleb. I mean, he's definitely getting more comfortable in the offense. Of course, we saw more and more reports before that last game saying how Shane Waldron went to the leaders on the team, Lewis and Keenan, even just to put everything out on the table about how the offense should look. And it seems like everybody was receptive to that. You like to see that type of response
from those type of meetings. They weren't script in place to start the games, which was interesting.
Yeah. So you like to see that response from those type of meetings because it can go either way. You know what I mean? And especially for a young quarterback, it's a good start for sure.
Yeah, he's playing well. And it's good to see. But obviously Jacksonville, it's looking a little rough. We'll see how they'll see how it looks in their next London game this week. But Doug Peterson got the kind of a stamp of approval, but it always seems like that's kind of the kiss of death from the ownership.
It really, that's what I was thinking too.
When I saw saying that he had confidence in him and Balky. So, and Trevor Lawrence, it's rough. I mean, you didn't play bad, but it's rough. It's rough.
He's just not doing enough. And it's like the game before that one, he had a good game, but this is year 4? Dude, you gotta come on now. Come on now. It's time to show up. It's not like you don't have weapons. Like, you have enough weapons. Brian Thomas Jr. has been great for them so far this season.
Missed him on a long touchdown too.
Yeah. Christian Kirk is kind of getting back into the groove of things, but Evan Ingram came back and played this game. He was a big target for them, but you have enough weapons, so it's like, what is really going on here? Like, what? It's not a good look, especially when your head coach is the coordinator as well. So
yeah. But speaking of which, in terms of weapons, how about the Tampa Bay Bucks putting up 51 on the New Orleans Saints? Because that's, I mean, number one, talk about weapons. Number two, talk about a team that's is starting to get dark for. More injuries popping up for them. Obviously, they have they lost Chris Olave in this game to a concussion. He got smacked. He's he's not gonna play on. He's not gonna play tomorrow night in the Thursday night football game due to that. Just found out that Rashid Shaheed might be out for the entire season, but definitely will be out for a few weeks when a meniscus tear. So that's your top two receivers out. Taysom Hill's obviously out. Derek Carr was obviously out. What do you guys think? I said at the beginning of the season and that I thought that the Saints, when we did our preview, I thought the Saints were going to be kind of in the trade deadline candidate where they're a high seller. How do you guys think the outlook is for them, given the first 2 weeks and then given the past 4 weeks now?
Man, you can't get no worse than that. I mean, shit. For like you said, coming in the year, you put up 40 points back to back against your division opponent, which a few people don't think, obviously Carolina not that good. But then the next week you play Dallas, which again people thought coming in Dallas was good and seeming like maybe not, but you put on a show in the first 2 weeks and then to be losing after that and then turn around and lose your starting quarterback, your two starting receivers, and your best gadget player in Taysom Hill. It's just,
yeah.
I don't know who did something wrong, but they need to pray. They need to be forgive to something. Somebody fucked up somewhere because I ain't never seen no shit like that.
And then going into the season, Ramczyk was injured for the season. Defensively, they had injuries. Tyrann Mathieu got injured in his last game. I think he'll be back for Thursday night, but you still had like DeMario Davis in and out of the lineup. You had, this other, it's rough for them. Austin Debo, they're getting cooked. Like it's rough. It's rough.
It's rough.
It's real rough. But at the same time, it kind of just like Shai said, like I'm not surprised that is coming down like this, but I think this does offer them an opportunity to kind of just reset and get rid of the coach.
See what you got with
Spencer Rattler. It's gonna be rough because like you said, you down your top two receivers. He's starting on Thursday, and Denver Broncos defense is pretty good, so it might look a little ugly. But get Chris Olave back, see what you got with those two going for the rest of the season, and just build around that.
But hey, maybe those are the guys that he's been practicing with anyway, so maybe he's good.
That's true too. But of course, there are a lot of veterans on that defense. Maybe they look to get out of there. I don't know. It's tough to kind of predict like trades like that. I don't think Tyrann Mathieu wants to leave anywhere. I don't think definitely Cam Jordan staying there, but that's not even a thing. But like, I don't know. They're definitely on a crossroads, which is tough.
Chase Young.
Yeah, Chase Young might
contract. Maybe he's a trade candidate.
That's true too.
Tyrann Mathieu, like he said, he's from Louisiana, so he might want to kind of try to ride it out. Obviously, I've talked about Marshawn Lattimore plenty of times. Maybe they do because they have Kool-Aid, Paulson, and Taylor as well. So I don't know we'll see. But I mean, yeah, it's getting rough. I mean, they got Denver, so if they lose against Denver, they're at the Chargers, and then the Panthers, which would be, but that's right around the trade deadline before they play Atlanta and then Cleveland, which again, who knows what because it looks like they might start to become a dumpster fire or sell and become a dumpster fire as well. Which, speaking of dumpster fire, let's go ahead and get into our hot seat watch.
Let's do it.
So I just talked about the Bucks, and last week I did have Todd Bowles on the hot seat watch. I don't know if he kind of escapes, even though they did put up 51, because he did, they did kind of sell in the second quarter, and it looked a little rough for a second. But who you guys got this week, and why?
I'll go first again. Last week I had Lou Anarumo, and they definitely showed up on defense. It was against the Giants, and Daniel Jones did sell in the red zone. Sold a couple times throughout that game, actually. But all in all, the defense did kind of respond to how weak they've been playing so far. But they're still on. They got the Browns this week. You better not lose that game, even though it's a division game. You better not lose. But this week, I'm gonna go with Russell Wilson.
Last few to him too.
Yeah. This week I'm going is going to be named the starter for Sunday night against the Jets. This is it for him. You got to show out, and I don't think he should have been named the starter, especially this week, especially on a primetime game, especially against the New York Jets. But he did, and it looks like it's trending that way. So Russell Wilson, this is your shot. If you come out there and look way worse than how Justin Fields has looked throughout these first 6 weeks, I don't see anybody taking another chance on you going forward. You got to produce. You got to show up. You got to prove Mike Tomlin right to just give you the starting job out without showing anything really for the Steelers. So, Russell Wilson, you're on a hot seat watch.
Okay. What say you, Chris?
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna put the 49ers on seat watch. More specifically, Kyle Shanahan. I mean, you already lost 2 divisional games this year. You won last week, but Seattle sold, in my opinion. They had various chances to actually make this game, actually win that game. You have a tough game coming up, and you actually have a tougher schedule coming up. So you need this win. You need to come out here and dominate the Chiefs. You done lost twice to them in the Super Bowl. Hey, you gotta get that monkey off your back. So I got Kyle Shanahan.
I think they've lost the last 4 to the Chiefs and just in general, because they did get smacked.
That's even worse.
They got smacked one year. I want to say it was with the year Brock Purdy started.
Yeah, the first year. You're right.
It was
the first
before
year
he played.
Yeah, they had. No, you're right. It was right before he played.
Yeah. So okay. So I'm kind of in the same boat as both of y'all. I'm at the quarterback position, but I'm at in the NFC West division. I'm going with Kyler Murray. Not because Kyler Murray has played bad, because he's actually been pretty good throughout the entirety of the season so far, but because at this point they're at a 2-4 record. Obviously, as you mentioned, they did come back against the 49ers, but their season kind of, depending on how we feel about Los Angeles, who they play on Monday night, and another double Monday night, as well as London, and kind of an ugly schedule. But then they get Miami, which could possibly be Tua's return. And we'll see how that goes, because it's at Miami, then Chicago, and then against the Jets before their bye week. And then it's Seattle, at Minnesota, then against Seattle again, before they end the season, the last 2 games against Los Angeles, which we'll see how they'll be, the Rams, and then the 49ers to end the season. So at some point, will people start to be like, if they do end up having a bad record again, will some people start to be like, oh, it's an opportunity for Shedeur Sanders and Marvin Harrison Jr., or it's an opportunity for, Cam Ward and Marvin Harrison Jr. and the young guys. And maybe Kyler Murray goes to a team like the Giants, who might not be as bad, or even if that goes to the Giants, Kyler returns to Dallas. I'm just saying, that they love that.
I know, right?
Got storylines.
That would shit up. That would shake some shit up. But like I said, it's not. I don't want to make it seem like Kyler Murray is playing bad, because he's not at all. But given the record, given his team, that is how things could possibly shake out. So, Kyler Murray, I got you on the hot seat watch this week. Let's see if you can start picking up some wins, starting with against Justin Herbert on prime. Well, do we want to call it prime time?
They did those dirty, didn't they?
Plus, so
that's dirty.
And you're already playing like the Chargers, who, like, I feel like they don't have a bunch of fans, or at least people that would attend, even though it's in Arizona.
They did dirty for sure. I like that one though.
But it actually probably be a pretty good game.
Like we said, I think we said going into the season, like the Cardinals would be like not a sad 4. They'll be 4th place in the division, but not a sad 4. But the way it's looking right now, it's like, how long or how much do you put up with that? You know what I mean? Like, where, or do you try to shake it up, like you said? So Maybe they.
Because if they do have a bad record, they could, obviously people might start doing the Travis Hunter as opposed to trading him. But if you can get, let's say you have a top 3 pick and you can get a Cam Ward, Carson Beck, or Shador, and then trade Kyler Murray, like I said, for a couple first round picks.
Yeah, I mean, I agree because it's just a weird team right now. They have spurts of good play, but then when they play, when they not doing good, they're not doing good at all.
CD went to Oklahoma with Kyler Murray.
Storyline,
man.
Hey, what?
I think Kyler definitely has some trade value out
there.
there, and there's some teams that definitely use his services. Like you mentioned, the Cowboys. I'm gonna throw out there like Tennessee. I don't know how it could work, but if you look at the timelines around there, I don't know.
I wouldn't say,
but definitely, I think he does have some trade value though. So.
Tennessee would be interesting, but I don't know. I don't. I think fair. Tennessee would rather just get a young quarterback. You have to give Will Levis the season anyway. I mean, I think he has to get his confidence back because he's kind of looked. I never thought he was good, but he's looked worse this year. Similar to Bryce Young, he looked worse this year than he did last year. Obviously, the Tennessee just had like 30 points last week with Mason Rudolph. So it's tough, but Will Levis gotta.
Maybe the Raiders, if they don't get a high pick, I don't know. We'll see.
I won't want it. I'm not trying to go nowhere near that. I ain't trying. If I'm Kyler Murray, I'm like, nah.
I'm good on that.
But man, we can go ahead and get into our picks here. Cass, go ahead and give us a rundown of last week. And we can get into
so we all were locked up at 5 wins apiece. Of course, you could have got 6, but you picked Jacksonville. I don't know why you picked Jacksonville. Jacksonville's ass.
If I should have put the caveat about Malik Neighbors because I said the game was going to be about Malik Neighbors.
I thought he would play too, though. I didn't think he was going to make it out of concussion. But that was the one you had. And then I picked the Jets, of course, against Buffalo, and we saw how that went. Even though the Jets really should have won that. But so total on the year that has me at 23, Chris 22, Shot 17. Correct picks. So let's get into it.
Okay. Thursday night football, Denver at the New Orleans Saints. Kind of a snoozer on this one, honestly. No disrespect to both teams, but given the injuries to Denver and then to the Saints, and then obviously Denver losing Patrick Surtain today as well for the game. So who you guys got and why?
Just like you said, the injuries, man, I'm going to go with Denver. I know you just said they don't have Pat Surtain, but, they don't have their top 2 receivers either. So, I think that's...
Hold on. Let me also give it the just due and the respect here. Sean Payton's return to New Orleans.
It's in New Orleans.
It's in New Orleans.
With Denver.
Okay, I didn't know.
Let me give it the proper respect here. I'm sorry. Sean Payton's return to New Orleans. Who you guys got and why?
I got Denver. Sean Payton's gonna get a dub in New Orleans. Just for that reason, hey, he gonna throw some trick plays out there. He gonna do something crazy. I already know it. But I still think Denver's gonna come out on top. I think it's gonna be on the lower side of the scoreboard. But the Saints is just too injured at this point. You still trying to figure out this is gonna be Spencer Rattler's second start, and to have your second start within 4 days of your first start, kind of crazy. But
gotta get to it. Yeah, welcome
to the NFL. So, but yeah, I think
Denver. Spencer Rattler did play well during that game. Of course, it's tough they spotted them 17 points, so it was tough going into it if you're Spencer Rattler. But I got Denver in this one as well. It kind of sucks that you can't do the surprise kickoff at surprise onside kick after halftime. That's some shit that Sean Payton.
Exactly,
sorry, Sean. I know that happened against your squad, but But Sean Payton will pull out some shit like that, even though you can't do that. But something similar. But I'm gonna go Denver with this one. I think he really wants this win. I think Denver's honestly the better team right now. Definitely the better defense, and I think they're gonna. I think Spencer Rattler might be in some hell in this game. It should be a little rough. So I think this game really is on Bo Nix, and if that offense can move the ball at all. And I think it might be a pretty low scoring game in this one. I got Denver.
Okay. So I also got Denver in this one, obviously, because the biggest reason is because of Sean Payton's return. I do believe that he's gonna have the boys ready, especially with obviously they're not having as many injuries as the New Orleans Saints. But I actually think it's going to be a really good game because I think the Saints defense and the team in general are also going to be up for the game with Sean Payton's return. I think that the Saints the atmosphere in New Orleans is going to be probably pretty crazy as well. And I do think that we get a big, it's rookie versus rookie, Spencer Rattler versus Bo Nix, obviously two quarterbacks that transferred and kind of found a second chance that ended up propelling them to this moment. So I do think that they both play pretty well, but we see some pretty crazy defensive plays. Obviously, I think they both have a couple mistakes, but we get a pretty good game out of it. But moving to the next game, another game that's kind of, it's on the lower end, especially in terms of the records here. But the Patriots and Drake May's second start versus the Jacksonville Jaguars in London, the second London game for Jacksonville, and possibly Doug Peterson's last game, depending on the results that you guys have. But who you guys got and why?
Man, I really want to believe that Jacksonville can pull out a fucking dub, man. I really want to believe that they just ain't gonna sell like that. But I'm gonna go with the Patriots. They got a good defense. Jacksonville offense is inept. They can't do shit. There might be a 10-6 game, goddamn. I don't know. But I'm gonna go with the Patriots on this one.
I'm also gonna go with the Patriots. I like what I saw out of Drake May. Of course, there were some mistakes, but this is his first game. Of the season. They definitely moved the ball down the field a lot better on offense. Which, if Jacoby Brissett was starting in this game, I would definitely pick Jacksonville. But I think Drake May gives him a little bump. I think he has a game under his belt. I don't think Jacksonville is just. I think they're very bad, and I think they're done. We saw some of the quotes coming out in the locker room on Sunday talking about like people quit and stuff like that. So it's bad over there. So yeah, I think this.
And they also traded Roy Robertson Harris to Seattle, who was a former captain, I believe, for him. So there. It might be fire.
So I think this is Doug Peterson's last game. I think he definitely gets fired by Monday.
Press Taylor going with him.
Probably. So I also agree the writing's probably on the wall there. So I'm also rocking with the Patriots. I do think that, you see, I think the Drake May, Jacoby Brissett, like you mentioned, is part reason why it was always dumb for Jacoby Brissett to start. Obviously, he comes out, they get that first win against the Bengals, and everybody's like, oh, and it's like, he's a veteran quarterback. He is supposed to not make mistakes, but you obviously see where they do have deficiencies, like people said on their offensive line. People said that they didn't have any weapons. Well, here comes Drake May, and all of a sudden it looks like they have a little bit of weapons, and the offensive line played better. Well, maybe because the offensive line played better just because he got the ball out on time, and he's just a better quarterback than Jacoby Brissett, no disrespect. I think that Drake May in his second start has a pretty good game against a Jacksonville team that's reeling. And, I think we're probably about to see a couple fire sale, players get out of Jacksonville. Maybe like a Lua Khan, maybe Andre Sisco, who was the person that had the quote about people quitting. I would have said Tyson Campbell, but obviously he just signed his contract. But it's going to Travis Etienne. Obviously he might be out of there as well. So I do think that it's going to be Doug Peterson's last game. And maybe we see things turn around and maybe they get the right person there in Jacksonville. But I'm rocking with the Patriots as well. Getting into the next game, this is really the only one that's not on primetime, given we've got technically five primetime games. But Houston in Green Bay. Houston obviously has had a great start to their season. They just put up 41 against the Patriots. The Packers obviously getting Jordan Love back. He just threw 4 touchdowns against the Cardinals, and even the interception he threw shouldn't really have been an interception, came on a slip. Who you guys got and why?
I'm rocking with Green Bay with this one. Jordan Love's back. He's looking healthy. And I like their defense. Their defense is coming along. I think they're gonna give CJ some problems, and they're gonna come out with a W. I'm liking what I'm seeing back.
Like you said, they are getting healthy. They got all their receivers back pretty much, which is good for the Packers for sure. I'm going to Houston though. I know they're on the road. I know they're missing Nico, but I think this will be one of those close games where CJ has the ball at the end and goes down to lead them to a game-winning drive. I don't know. I just foresee that happening. I think it'll be a great game though. I respect both of their defenses, but I think CJ was going to have the upper hand in this one.
Yeah. So this one was tough because, like you said, all evidence, even though the Texans have a good record, I don't want to say all evidence, but there's a lot of evidence saying that they probably shouldn't have the record that they are. I mean, their offense is league average. Their defense has been pretty good. They're top 10, but, out of an offense that you explore, once again, like I said, with CJ Stroud, they're not great on first and second down. And he's excellent on third down, which is why I'm kind of like feeling like Cass. Like, I'm just like, it feels like CJ is just, they're going to get that the ball in the end and is going to be able to go. But I'm rocking with the Packers as well. They're they're heating up. Obviously, they've been playing well all season. It is in Green Bay as well. I think they're doing like a whiteout or something like that. They've got 3 safeties that are playing excellent at this point. Their defense is top 10 right now. I want to say their defense is maybe even top 6, maybe top 7. Offense is top 10. I think they're clicking on all cylinders. Obviously, the whole Romeo Dobbs situation that that happened the past couple of weeks that maybe has gone out the window. And finally, Houston is missing Kamari Lassiter. He's going to be out for a few weeks as well, as one of their safeties. So Jimmy Ward. So I'm feeling like I'm going with the Packers in this one. But getting into the Sunday night game, the Jets at Pittsburgh. Obviously, the Jets finally just got Davante Adams. We talked about that earlier. Pittsburgh looks like they are going to be switching over to Russell Wilson. Cass made his feelings hurt about that. But Chris, before you get into your picks, how do you feel about possibly switching over to Russell Wilson?
I mean, it's got to be something that you feel that you've done seen in practice that gives you the inclination that he's going to do better than Justin Fields. I mean, I'm not saying Justin Fields did good at all, but I mean, with how he led the team, how he's been leading the team in general, you usually don't just make that switch unless you just know, it was for certain that he was never going to be the starter quarterback. And if that's the case, then cool. You put Russ back in because that's who you always was going to go with. He just happened to get hurt. Then I'm cool with that. But I mean, the segue to what I'm about to say is they're not going to win this game, though. I mean, in my opinion, there's no continuity there. At least the Jets been together outside, and then you bringing in Davante Adams, and obviously him and Aaron Rodgers have a connection. So I think the Jets are going to dominate this game and come out with the win.
I also had the Jets in this one. I think this is like an extension of what I said last week as the coordinator bump. Like this is, I think it's just a new energy in there, and you seen it this week. You saw Aaron Rodgers all cheesing and giddy on Pat McAfee's show, and Davante Adams staying at his house, and it's some better vibes there. It seems like from the outside looking in, of course. And I think at this time, I don't trust Russell Wilson. I would have to see it to believe it, and until I see it, I'm not going to go. I can't pick Pittsburgh, so I got the Jets in this one.
And I mean, I feel like Pittsburgh. I mean, obviously Justin Fields hasn't been playing bad, but I don't. Pittsburgh obviously feels like Russell Wilson could possibly unlock their offense. I mean, they're obviously the offense isn't the reason that they are at a 4-2 record right now, even though they did score 32 against the Las Vegas Raiders. But it's Las Vegas Raiders. No disrespect to them, but they were kind of in a disarray, and we don't know what's really going on with their head coach and decide. It's a lot. But anyway, so I'm also rocking with the Jets. I think they had an energy boost. It seemed. I think they get another one with Davante Adams out there. Cass, you mentioned something earlier about having with Garrett Wilson having 23 targets. Well, I do think in part, and we can get into this in a sec, but obviously Aaron Rodgers threw Mike Williams under the bus kind of this week, and the game losing interception went Mike Williams' way as well, and he said he ran the wrong route. It maybe seems like he just didn't trust Mike Williams, and Mike Williams was out today with practice with personal reasons. So maybe there was some issue there. Maybe just him getting a change of scenery. Obviously, he's coming off an ACL injury. That'll be better for him. And then obviously, if now Aaron Rodgers has some guys that he trusts, because he clearly trusts Garrett Wilson. Now with Davante and then Lazard, maybe he's less targets for Lazard and more for the good guys. And then obviously Breece Hall, who played pretty well as well. So I'm rocking with the Jets here. Ultimately, I think that Garrett Wilson actually has the big game this week.
Sure.
So getting to the Monday night games, Baltimore at Tampa Bay. Obviously, Tampa Bay is kind of coming off of a big week, but kind of a rough week for them. Obviously, the Storms just hit Tampa pretty hard over the past week, and Florida's been getting hit pretty rough with the Hurricanes. But with that being said, both playing excellent ball offensively, maybe a little rough defensively, but getting a little healthier, getting a little better. Who you guys got and why?
I mean, it might be a high scoring game. Both defenses, they're trying to find their footing. I know Buccaneers, they got a lot of injuries, and for the Ravens, they just have a lot of turnover as far as like players that left. They got a new coordinator, so they still trying to find their footing. But man, that Ravens offense clicking on all cylinders, if you ask me. So I think it might be a shootout, but I think the Ravens going to come out on top.
Okay. I think the success that Tampa Bay had was really predicated on that ground game. They really got that going. I don't think they'll be able to do that against the Ravens. I don't really, and on the flip side of that, I don't trust Tampa Bay's defense. Like it's just something. It's more I got to see from Todd Bowles, like Shad mentioned even last week. So I got Baltimore in this one. I don't necessarily think it'll be that close. I know they're on the Tampa Bay's at home, but I just really think Baltimore is just a really just better team than them, and I think this is a really bad matchup for Tampa Bay overall.
Okay. So I'm actually rocking with Tampa in this one. Baltimore is on a roll right now, but this is the type of game that they typically lose. Monday night game.
Lamar undefeated against the NFC.
A Lamar fumble.
Or I think one loss against the NFC.
He's not undefeated against the NFC. He does have one loss against the NFC.
That shit
like
Baker Mayfield obviously has a history of playing the Ravens as well. And they're like I said, they do have a lot to play for, given how things have gone there, and they are getting healthier on defense. So I am rocking. Well, actually, I don't know because Mike Evans did.
I knew
I'll switch my pick. Mike Evans did.
You was never going with him.
You got me.
Nah, I'm rocking with the Ravens. You got me. Nah, I'm rocking with the Ravens. The Ravens obviously are on a roll here. I think Lamar. Like you said, he's got like a 20-1 record against the NFC. I do think that he continues on. And I think we talked about it a little bit. We thought it was Josh Allen for a little bit, but I think it's pretty comfortably Lamar's in like the MVP race right now, the lead of the MVP race right now, possibly getting to his third. And I think he continues. And I don't know, Derrick Henry, I don't know how you stop it. I really don't know how you stop it. Like they have figured it out. And if I would like to see if they could get, maybe if they do get Mike Williams or somebody like that, if they can get one more receiver in there. But, I think they have a big game, but I also think that
I would have
Tampa
loved
Bay has a
Mark
big
Cooper to
game
go
as
there,
well.
especially for like 800,000 or whatever the Bills are paying him. Like that would have been.
But
Nah,
they
weren't. But I
weren't
would have
going to do
loved
it in the division.
Well,
They weren't going to do it in the division. But yeah, moving to the last game of the week and the final Monday Night Football game on ESPN Plus, the Chargers at Arizona. Who you guys got and why?
Man, I'm gonna go with the Chargers. I think Jim Harbaugh he gonna dirty this game up. I mean, he's gonna slow it down. He's gonna run the ball, and it's gonna get the Cardinals all in disarray. And I don't think the Cardinals offense is gonna be able to do anything with them. So I'm gonna just go ahead and give it to the Chargers.
this was a tough one.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Arizona in this one. I'm not too confident in it, obviously. But I just think it's time that they have a break. Well, caveat: we don't know how Marvin Harrison Jr. is doing. So if he does not play, coming out for the concussion that he had, if he does not play, give me the Chargers. But if he does play, give me Arizona. I got to put that caveat in for you.
And lately, people haven't been coming back the next week.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm riding with the Chargers. I do think that this is the game that they actually get their passing game going completely. We haven't seen a huge they've been good, not great, but I think that this is the game that they really get it going passing wise. I think we see a big game from Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnston. Let me be correct there. J.K. Dobbins, I think he's sixth in the league right now in rushing. He's got about 400 and almost 500 yards and a couple touchdowns. I think that he continues his role and against that porous Arizona Cardinals defense right now. But I do think that Arizona still, does their thing where they put up points. Obviously, Kyler still has a good game. But I got the Chargers winning in this one and continuing on with their good start to their season. And that gives us a wrap from Monday Night Football and our final game of the week. Switching gears into the NBA.
Wait.
Obviously, like I said, the NBA is starting next week.
Chiefs.
What's
Niners.
the biggest game of the week? Oh, I forgot about that one. Yeah, you're right. I added that one. All right, bet. But I forgot. I said that this was the last game of the week, but I actually forgot about the Chiefs and the 49ers. So let's get into that one as well. Rematch of the Super Bowl. How could I forget? Obviously Chiefs coming off of a bye week. The 49ers coming off of a big win against Seattle. And they got the semi-bye week. Who you guys got and why? It's in San Fran. Pat Mahomes, Kyle Shanahan, Chris, what you got?
Man, I told you I put that man on a hot seat, man. They got to come out with this dub. I mean, I understand it's regular season. No, they got to come out with this dub. So I'm gonna pick them. I know the Chiefs, especially Andy Reid. He's great after the bye week. I think he's only lost 2 games out of his whole career after the bye week. So he usually come out, with a different game plan and some gadgets and stuff like that. But I really think San Francisco finally actually finds their footing. They've been playing okay. They haven't been playing like their dominant self like they usually are. But I think they're gonna come out and make a statement. It ain't gonna get you the Super Bowl, but it's gonna make you feel a little better.
And that's why I think they'll pull it out. It's not a must win, because they do have Dallas next week, and that could be. but I do think San Francisco really wants this game, especially out of 2. I think they come out. It's gonna be tough. It's tough to pick against Kansas City, and I did have them as the longest undefeated team, but I think San Francisco can get this one from them. I think they'll come out. I think they use this time to get better, like get more healthy. Jordan Mason had an injury in the last game. Having these 10 days off or whatever definitely helps that. Debo has been nicked, and so having 10 days off for him is definitely good. Same thing with Kittle, really. So I think they were able to get healthy over this little mini bye for them. Of course, the Chiefs had time to figure out what they're going to do at receiver and how they're going to move forward. If it's going to be Juju, we'll see. But I think San Francisco's defense comes up big in this one. I think Pat Mahomes has another turnover that's just like, why did you throw that? Like, what are you? And I got San Francisco in this one at home.
So this one was tough. Obviously, it's a huge game. Obviously, San Fran needs it big time. In Kansas City, coming off a bye week, they probably need it as well to kind of continue on. They probably want it more than they need to continue on with their trek to get a three-peat. But I'm going with Kansas City in this one. I think that this is going to be one of those games where they're getting dominated most of the game, and somehow, just like the Super Bowl, they end up winning in the end. I do think that Pat Mahomes throws 2 dumb picks. And once again, it's been but the 49ers defense hasn't been playing well necessarily. They've been letting up a lot of big leads. They almost let up a big lead against the Seahawks. I think that this time it does happen again, and we really start to get into some of those issues there. And it happens against Andy Reid. I think the week off, basically 2 weeks off for Travis Kelce, I think is going to be huge, and I think he has a big game towards the end of in the second half, and they end up pulling it out.
This would be a good one.
Yeah, you would think, given that they had 2 Monday night games, why not put that game on Monday night or Sunday night or something as opposed to 4? But I mean, hey, it is what it is. Switching gears to the NBA, let's go ahead and get into our East predictions and who we got coming out coming out and being the champion this year. So how you guys want to start? Do you guys want to do the 1 through 10 again, or start from 10-1?
I feel like it's not as fun in the East, but we could do 1 through 10 still. No, you got it. The Pistons. Nah, we can do 1 through 10.
Go ahead, get cracking.
You gonna go first, Chris? Go ahead.
Yeah, I go first. Okay, so 1 through 10. I got Boston coming out of the 1 seed again.
Fuck you,
we fought like that, man. I predicted us to win last year. So anyway, but I think we'll come out with the 1 seed. They hungry. So much disrespect that happened this past summer. I think them boys gonna come out there on fire. But
okay.
For the 2 seed, I got the Knicks. I do like the addition that they had this year of the trades and
that's a crazy nickname.
And as far as the seeding goes, Tibbs gonna have them play all 82 games. So out of any team, they're gonna be probably the one team that's gonna be playing the hardest every single night. So that's why I got them at 2 seed. 3, I got the Bucks. I think a lot of people aren't talking about them enough. I understand they might have had last year they didn't perform well, but that was the first year of Giannis and Dame. Plus Giannis was hurt, so who knows what could have happened with that.
Mid-season coaching,
they still a good team. All that. So I think they find a little under the radar at this point. So for the 4th. I didn't want to put them there, but I went ahead. I got the 76ers. Their team is gonna be predicated on fucking health at this point. Cause goddamn, Paul George, how you already hurt? Joel Embiid saying I'm not playing back-to-backs ever again in life. They're set up to not win too many games in general. As you might think they would, but I still got them as 4th seed. The 5th seed, I got the Cavs. Again, they're still a good team. I'm interested to see how they do with their new coach. And it's good that they still, have kept obviously, rumors with Donovan Mitchell or whatever, but he's still there obviously. And then Evan Mobley. Another year. I think he's gonna take a bigger step this year, a bigger role in the team in general. So I got the Cavs. The next I got the Magic. They're a young team. I like to pick up a KCP. and they're just gonna keep building. Good defensive team. I think they just need a little bit more offensive firepower at this point for their team. Next, I got the Pacers. They made the Eastern Conference Finals last year, but they don't have no kind of damn defense. That's going to be their downfall. Their defense is not that good. Yes, they're gonna put up a bunch of points, but I think that's going to catch up with them eventually, which will drop them down in the seeding. Next, I got the Heat. I mean, you just can't really count them out the playoff. They're gonna make it somehow. Then at the end, Jimmy gonna be hurt. Then next, you must ain't got him on that cast. I seen your face, but but I got the Heat. They're gonna sneak their way into the AFC like they've been doing the past few years. And then to round it off in 9th and 10th, I got the Hawks and the Raptors. I just don't think they're good teams at this point. Y'all might think differently, but right now it just feel like they're both are missing something. What that something is, I don't know, but I have to see how they perform, especially with their draft pick as far as the Hawks go, and the Raptors. They're just young, but I think they somehow sneak in the 10th seed.
All right.
And that's my.
I don't hate it. I don't think there's, I'll just get to mine. 1 seed, I got the Celtics. Of course, like you, Chris, I think they had the 1 seed last season by 14 games. I think it could be very close to that again, at least a 10-game lead. 2, I got the Knicks, same as you. Like you said, Tibbs is going to play his guys in a regular season. A lot depends on health there because Cat has been having some injuries. So, but they have a lot of continuity there. So I really like what they have going on. They were able to re-sign OG. So I mean, I like what the Knicks have, and bringing in Mikal as well. 3, I have the Bucks. Kind of like you, Chris. They haven't been talked a lot about as nationally as like contenders, but I mean they still have Giannis. Still have Dame, even though he's another year older. We'll see how he is health wise as well. But I got the Bucks kind of sneaking in there and kind of surprising people this year. I don't have them going far because they still have Doc Rivers. So but 4 seed, I have the Magic, and I think it's gonna be close, same as last year between them and the Cavs. I know Cavs last year were 4, Magic were 5. This year I have Magic 4, Cavs 5. I think it'll still be close. I think that will still be the first round matchup between those two teams. 6 seed, I got the Sixers, and I think is mainly about health. You have Joel Embiid. You don't know. He's like you said, he's not playing any back-to-backs. There were some reporters, Sixers reporters saying Paul George is probably not going to play a lot of back-to-backs, if any, as well. So it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough for the Sixers throughout the season, and I would not be surprised if they're even lower than the 6th seed. To be honest, I don't have a lot of faith in this in this pairing going forward. This is not what you want to see after a whole summer, and this is why like Joel Embiid should have never played. Should have never. I know international play. I know you want to represent, and all of that, but dude, like you gotta. You're a health liability. You should have took a chill pill this summer, but I don't have a lot of faith in this squad, honestly. But if everybody is healthy, they're still good enough. 7, I have the Hawks. Out of this like bottom half, I would say the Eastern Conference, I would probably think the Hawks have one of the better coaches outside of Eric Spoelstra, of course. One of the better coaches, one of the better superstars. And I mean, I think Trey, like, especially like having without DeJounte Murray this season, having the Rooks in, of course, I had Jalen Johnson as most improved. I think he definitely helps this team out a lot. I got the Hawks surprise some people. I think they might be better than a lot of people think. 8 seed, I got the Pacers. They're a good team. Of course, made it to the Eastern Finals last year. But like you said, Chris, there's a lot of question marks with this squad in general. They didn't do a whole lot this offseason to kind of increase, better their squad. So we'll kind of see how it is, going forward. But I got a Pacers 8 seed, 9 seed. I do have the Heat, but I don't have them making the playoffs. I'll say that much. And I think it's just one of those things where unless you see a big jump like Sha mentioned last week from Jaime Jaquez or even Tyler Hero. Like I don't see a lot going forward. I don't see a lot of enthusiasm with this team. In 10 seed, I got the Bulls. I'm expecting Josh Giddey to make a bit of an impact, but I'm really excited to see Lonzo Ball play some meaningful basketball finally again. I think he's a very good talent, and if Zach LaVine shows up this season, I know he's still in trade talks, still as of today. The Kings were kind of leaked to him today in a few reports, but Zach LaVine, of course, he just had that monster game in the preseason for like 20-something points. He's still a good player, and I think, especially in the East against that schedule, they'll be able to be the 10 seed. So, yeah.
So solid list, solid list. Well, I'll go ahead and kick off mine. So I've got the Celtics at 1 as well. I don't think that they will have as big of a lead as they did last year. I don't think that the teams. I think that the teams will experience injuries as well as the Celtics probably this year. But I don't think it'll be as deep as it was last year. At 2, I do have the Bucks. Best, arguably the best player in the league. And they did get Gary Trent Jr. to come over there as well. Hopefully, Chris Middleton can be relatively healthy for the most part. And they brought in, Torian Prince, so I think they'll be solid. But they still got some solid depth, and then obviously a second year. Yeah, hot pockets, and then a second year with first full off season with Doc, and then a second year with Dame. Really, the first full off season with Dame as well. So at 3, I had the Knicks. Mostly, honestly, I really didn't even want to have the Knicks that high. Not because I don't think that they'll be good, but I do think they lack significant depth, and I do think that team is definitely an injury or 2 away. That is definitely probably bound to happen because OG Anunoby stays hurt. Not for obviously long periods of time, but he gets hurt, he gets snaked. Obviously, like Cass mentioned, Karl Anthony Towns does as well. But they do have a really solid starting lineup. So, I did go ahead and put them at 3. At 4, I had the Cavs. Until they show that they can stay healthy, that's kind of their ceiling right now for me is the 4 seed. At 5, I also had the Magic. Honestly, the Magic probably would be lower for me, even though I do like their team. I do like the addition of KCP, like you mentioned. But, that defense, once again, if teams aren't as injured as they were, even though as good as the Magic were, I don't think they end up at 5 like they were last year. But I do think that they will be solid defensively. They just need some offensive firepower. At 6, the 76ers, same reason that you guys had, so I'm not even going to get into that. 7, I also had the Pacers. Think that their offense will be good, but obviously, like you mentioned, defense. And then I do think that I did mention that Ben Mathurin. I think that he'll make a jump, so I do think that they will be good. Even if Therese Halliburton, who's also shown that he's going to be injured at some point in the season, gets hurt, I think they'll be able to hold over. At 8, I also had the Hawks. I do think that the Hawks will make the playoffs this year. I do think that Trae Young is quickly becoming the most underrated player in the league almost. Like it seems like people think he's trash, when in reality he's probably closer to the best point guard in the league than, to like 15. Man, yeah, I'm stick with that actually. But I do think that Rashad Shea is going to be good as well as Jalen Johnson, like you mentioned. At 8, at 9, I also have the Heat. Once again, don't have to get too much into it because we all feel the same way. Jimmy's bound to get hurt as well, and this is probably going to be Jimmy's last year with the Heat. And at 10, I actually had the Pistons. JB Bickerstaff is a good coach, a coach that's able to, coach some young guys, and then obviously he has a limit to what he can do. But obviously they've got a lot of good young guys over there. Jalen Duren and Cade obviously leading the ship, and then bringing the GOAT Tobias Harris over there to kind of stabilize and be a scorer for him. So I'm rocking with the Pistons. And we'll see if they sneak into the playoffs. But we can go ahead and get into the playoff bracket on both sides. However you guys want to start it off. Y'all want to start with the West or the East?
Let's start West. Let's get the hardest part of it.
Okay.
Go ahead, Chris. Who you got?
Okay,
You want me to go?
Go ahead. I gotta remember. I
I
gotta
got you.
find my list of who I had.
All right. So
go ahead.
1-8 matchup in the West. I had the Thunder versus the Grizzlies. I think the Thunder pulled that one out. I think that's actually a harder series than a lot of people think. But in the West, the 1-8 series is all most of the time harder than what people think it will be, even though it sometimes is a 4-0 or 4-1. Still hard fought games. So I got Thunder winning that. I'll just do 2-7 matchup. I have Mavericks versus the Lakers. Got the Mavericks pulling that one out. I think the Lakers just won't have enough to kind of combat the Mavericks, enough defensively to combat Luka and Kyrie. I think it'll be very tough. It is always tough to pick against LeBron, but just don't trust that squad yet. They could prove me wrong. JJ could come out and be a revelation for them. But it seems like they're banking on this season. Like Darvin Ham was the problem because you pretty much brought the same roster back. So it's like Darvin Ham was really the problem. We'll see what JJ can do with this roster. If he proves me wrong, then cool. But got to see that. 3-6 Nuggets versus Kings. I have the Nuggets winning that series. I think this will be a very tough series for the Nuggets. I think this is one that can go 6 games, possibly even 7. Mainly because of De'Aaron Fox and what he can do at the point of attack, and really unless Christian Brown has like a great defensive, uptick, it'll be very hard for them to start the point of attack this season. So that kind of, I think that's really going to be the Nuggets, downfall, I guess you could say, or kryptonite. 4-5, I had Timberwolves versus Suns, and I had the Suns winning that one actually. Not really too much think pieces into it, but I think the Suns, just have a great series. I think it'd be one of those series where KD and Boot are just like ridiculous, and it's not much you can do. So that leaves me with 1 seed Thunder, 2 seed Mavericks, 3 seed Nuggets, 5 seed Suns, and of course Thunder versus Suns. I had the Thunder winning that one. I think that one won't be a close series at all. I think the Thunder are a very bad matchup for the Suns. Just overall, I think it's a better team. Mavericks versus Nuggets. I got the Nuggets in this one. I think it'd be very tough for them to compete with the Nuggets sides and Jokic in general. So Thunder Nuggets are my Western Conference Finals matchup. And the winner of that one this season, run with the Nuggets. I want to go with the Thunder, but I'm gonna go with the Nuggets. I think the experience is kind of gets them on this one. And I think Jokic comes up big and Jamal. But like I said, point of attack is gonna be a big problem for the Nuggets, I think. And of course, you have one of the most dynamic point guards in the league that you're going against that series, so it could get ugly. This is a homer pick for me, but I'm going Nuggets to come out of the Western Conference.
Okay, Chris, come on, go.
Yeah. Can you read that off?
Yours?
Did you have it, Cash?
Oh no, I didn't. Hold on, let me pull it up. Go ahead, Shot.
Oh, hold on.
I'll go. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead. My 1-8 matchup was the Thunder and the Suns. So I think that the Thunder winning that one, similar how the Wolves and Suns series win, either a sweep or a gentleman's sweep there. My 2-7 matchup would be the Grizzlies versus the Pelicans. I got the Grizzlies winning out in that one in a pretty good series, probably going about 6. Excuse me. For my 3-6 matchup, I had the Wolves versus the Lakers. I got the Lakers pulling that one out in a 7-game series, just because I like the Wolves, but I don't think that they have enough now that they let Cat go. We'll see how Naz Reid steps up there, but I liked it better having both of them. And then obviously, we saw how, we say what we want about Cat, but we saw how he played defensively as well. Then for my 4-5 matchup, I had the Mavericks versus the Nuggets. I had the Mavericks winning in that one in 6. I think that you mentioned that they will have trouble with their size. I actually think that they wouldn't have trouble with Derek Lively there. I think that he would play pretty well against Jokic, even though he is bigger. But I think that the Mavericks would have, or the Nuggets would have size with or trouble with Luka. And then with Kyrie, it get ugly there. But So switching to the next round, I had Thunder Mavericks again, and I ended up not really liking my bracket and how everything shook out in terms of the matchups. But I had Thunder Mavericks again, and I think that this time the Mavericks win again. Just the inexperience from the Thunder, even though obviously there will be another year for them in the playoffs, but I think that they need one more piece. Then I had the Grizzlies Lakers. We get to see another great series from them, and I had the Lakers pulling that one out. And then ultimately it left Lakers versus Mavericks. Obviously the storylines there. I think that Derek Lively would struggle tremendously with AD and how he moves in his size, and then that's where I had the Lakers winning there to finish that one off. Which is kind of why I didn't like my side, or I didn't like the bracket a little bit because I really didn't like the Lakers in the
finals. That would be
finals,
crazy though. That would be crazy if they could
given the
pull this out.
matchups, it just
I don't hate it.
Given the matchups, I mean, it's once again, I think, like I said last year, I think the Nuggets really are the only team that I felt that could beat them in a 7-game series. And this year, I really don't think the Nuggets could beat them in a 7-game series given their team. But, you know, we'd see. We'll see. What you got, Chris?
All right, so my one, it'll be my 1 versus 8. I have the Thunder versus the Lakers. In that matchup, and I'm going with the Thunder. I know they're still a younger squad, but I just think they have the firepower to overwhelm the Lakers in general. But I think it's gonna be probably one of the better matchups in the first round. But again, I got the Thunder winning that one. My next matchup will be the Wolves versus the Grizzlies. Two exciting players with Ant and Ja, but I think the Wolves pulled that out. Ant got some very good experience last year in the playoffs, and so I think that helps him out. And even with the spacing, I think without Cat, that provides just a little bit different look for them. But I think it'll work out for them for at least for the first round. Then the next would be the Mavs versus the Pelicans. I want to go with the Pelicans, but I think the Mavs gonna win that. It's gonna be one hell of a matchup. I think Zion, he's going to take another step. I wish he would have played this year in general. I wish this past year outside of the play-in tournament, I wish he would have been able to play the first round. I don't think they would have won, but I think that would have been a way different matchup than it would. And then the next one would have been the Nuggets versus the Suns. Yeah, I'm not right. Hold on. Okay, that one is correct. It's Nuggets versus Sun. But for that matchup, the Nuggets are gonna win that. The Suns, again, I put them up there because they got the players, the mystique in general. KD, Book or whatnot. But I just don't think they're gonna win a playoff series. I just don't think they're good enough to do that. So
that's very possible.
Right now, I just don't think they can win that. So then that will make that would be next the Thunder versus the Nuggets. I got the Thunder winning that one. I don't know. It's just something about their team. I really feel like they were just young last year, but they played really, really well. And I think they take another stride, and then they take themselves to the Western Conference Finals, and then it'll be Timberwolves versus Mavs. The Timberwolves is going to get their revenge. They played their hearts out against the Nuggets, and I think that just took them out against the Mavs. I think they just took them out against the Mavs, man. I think everybody was thinking that that'd have been a better series than it was, but I think they're gonna get their revenge. I think they're gonna get their revenge, and then it's gonna be a battle of the young Bulls. The Thunder versus the Timberwolves, and One hell of a matchup. But I'm gonna take the Timberwolves, man. I think Ant gonna really make his stamp on the league in this playoffs. He's gonna take us another because he got to. He the man now. They told Cat, hey man, you gotta get up out of here. You the man now. So this your shit. So I think they're gonna win the conference, the Western Conference.
We all got different picks. I like it.
Okay.
I like it. That's gonna be interesting.
So switching to the Eastern Conference, you want to go ahead and kick us off, Chris?
Yeah. So my first round matchup, man, Boston versus the Heat, man, for another year. This time, even though I said, Jimmy's gonna be hurt throughout the year, I think he's gonna be there in the playoffs, and we're just gonna erase them boys out of the way. They talk a lot of shit. We would have lost if Jimmy. If we would have lost if Jimmy was there, I think Celtics are on a whole nother focus this year. So I think we're gonna end up winning that. The next matchup would be another great matchup if you ask me. Knicks versus the Pacers. Same matchup from last year before the Eastern Conference Finals.
I had a lot of same matchups too.
Oh, but yeah, I think the Knicks gonna get them this time. Obviously, it was a good series last year, but the Knicks was just super banged up. Everybody got hurt in and out of the lineup. They gonna stomp them boys. I ain't gonna lie to you. Then the next matchup will be the Bucks versus the Magic. And I got the Bucks again. Like I said earlier, I think the Bucks are flying under the radar. Not a lot of people are talking about them enough, but I mean, again, like Shai said, you argue about that. Got the best player in the league. So, healthy Giannis, Dane coming in there healthy. Hopefully, I think they get the dub. And then the last matchup might be the best one: Sixers versus Cavs. Man, this was tough because, like I said earlier, the thing about the Sixers, I can't trust them injury wise. Like, I just can't trust them, man. I think with the Cavs' length, that's going to pose a big issue for them in general. And obviously nobody really has somebody that can stop Joel Embiid, but they do have bodies that can throw at him. Man, again, history tells us he's not going to be 100% coming into that playoff series. So I'm gonna give the edge to the Cavs on that one. So I got the Cavs winning that.
Interesting.
Anyway, which would mean it would be the Knicks versus the Bucks, in which that's a matchup, hell of a matchup. I'm gonna go with the Knicks. I think they're gonna pull it out. I think this will be a tough 7-game series. I think Young's gonna give them all they can handle, but eventually they'll just edge them out with just the depth in general that they have. And then you got the Celtics versus the Cavs. I think is if the Cavs are healthy, it'll be a longer series than it was last year. Y'all were missing Jared Allen, which I think it would have made a big difference. I mean, again, you got Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, and some long people, so that makes it tough on the defense. And, but I think the Celtics will edge that out. So the matchup will be the Celtics versus the Knicks. TD Garden, Madison Square Garden. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough ass matchup.
Of course,
but I got the Celtics edging that out. So, and you already know, I already got them edging that. I think that again, like Shai said earlier, they're very top heavy. They don't have much depth, and it's a war of attrition. So I mean, I could see them being nicked here and there. And again, Tibbs gonna play the fuck out of them boys. So I mean, they gonna be running on fumes by that point. But I got the Celtics edging that out.
Celtics Wolves.
Celtics Wolves as well.
So who you got coming out on top?
These past few years has been, I guess you can call it parity. We had a new champion every year, and I think this year will be the first time we have a back-to-back champion since. I gotta do it. I just think that they're. I just feel like it's just this year as far as their championship from last year. They just poised. It just built a little different. Like I just feel like they're more focused than. I'm not saying other champions wasn't, but just the narrative that came out after the champion. Like for them to win the championship, but a lot of just nonsense coming out and just different stuff talking about their star players. Still trying to, I feel like draw a rift between them. I just feel like this would be one of the times that somebody who just won a championship feel like they're hungry still.
Okay. All right, Chris. Me and you had the same final two in the Eastern Conference. But I'll go through it. We got there differently. But I had 1 seed Celtics versus 8 seed Pacers. Of course, got the Celtics winning that one. I don't think it'll be a close series at all. 2 seed Knicks versus 7 seed Hawks, which would be a fun series. Of course, that's a rematch from a couple years ago. So a couple years back. And, that bad blood that Trey has in New York. I think that would be a fun. They hate him. They hate him.
Villain.
But I think it'll be a fun series. But I got the Knicks pulling that one out as well. 3 seed Bucks versus 6 seed Sixers. Nothing in me tells me that Joel will be healthy for that series. We could see a Tyrese Maxey like true breakout performance, which he's liable to get. I'm not gonna lie. But I got the Bucks winning that one. Then Magic versus Cavs, like I mentioned earlier. But this one I got the Cavs winning. I got that. I had them winning in 5 on their home court. I had Cavs as 5 seed. So yeah. So my final 4 was Celtics, Knicks, Bucks, and Cavs, just like you. And I had Celtics versus Cavs. Celtics coming out on the top. I think the big thing for the Celtics with this one, and of course we don't know exactly when KP will be back. Christmas is what they're saying, maybe sometime in December. The hope, and this is of course pending, like all this is health. That's kind of what we talked about with the Sixers as well. But like for the Celtics to make this run again, they definitely need Kristaps Porzingis. I don't think it'll be kind of like last year where you were able to kind of have him, kind of not, have him out. I think they definitely would need him this time. But I'm assuming that he will be there, and that's why I got the Celtics pulling that one out. Just the 3-point shooting is kind of overwhelming at times for teams. Then I got the Knicks versus Bucks, and I got the Knicks winning that one. I think, like Shad mentioned earlier, the depth isn't great, but also isn't great for the Bucks, and I think they're top 5 or better than the Bucks top 5. So I go with Knicks on that one. So I got Celtics Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. And again, assuming Kristaps will be there, because he will be that factor that kind of throws everything off. I got the Celtics winning this one and going back to the finals. Then so the finals, I got Celtics Nuggets, and I'm gonna go Nuggets. Yes, I am. Yes, I am, Sean. Yes, I am.
This nigga is sick. Oh God.
Yo.
All right.
What's Stan to say? Big yo. big yo.
We gonna see. We shall see. So I also had the same Final 4. But I had Celtics Hawks with the Celtics pulling it out in 6. I had the Bucks versus Pacers in a rematch, and obviously some of the bad blood that's going there. I got the Bucks winning pretty handily in 5. I have the Knicks versus the 76ers. I think this is another good series, another rematch. This one goes 7, and a good one. The Cavs versus the Magic. I also had this one being a shorter series than last series. I think that the Cavs, hopefully this is the year that they figure out the Evan Mobley, feeding him and let him catch it off the dribble, and not just try to post him up as a traditional power forward like JB Bickerstaff tried to do, or a traditional center, however you want to do it. And then I had the Celtics versus the Cavs. Once again, I think the Cavs are one of the teams that give the Celtics more problems than people want to say. And I also think that they had a lot of trouble with Evan Mobley. So I think this is a series that goes 7 with the Celtics winning again. I got I got the Knicks versus the Bucks, but I have the Bucks coming out in this. If Cat's going to be the starting center for the whole season, I also forgot to mention that with Mitchell Robinson being healthy, I know that they are being not healthy. I know that they've mentioned that they like Sims a lot and hoping that he can step up this season. But Cat, if he's going to start off at center with OG Anunoby or Mikel being the power forward, I do think that will lead to injuries for them, especially for Cat. And I don't think that he'll be able to definitely play in the Bucks without Mitchell Robinson. Even with Mitchell Robinson, they don't really have the team right now that I think that can contend with the Bucks. And then I had the Bucks and the Celtics in the conference finals, and I actually had the Bucks pulling this one out. Once again, I don't, with like you mentioned with Kristaps Porzingis, they always have good series, good games against each other, the Celtics versus the Bucks. But I just think that Dame finally gets his and finally gets from under the lock with Drew Holiday, because he be having that nigga in hell. But so that gives my finals to be the Lakers versus the Bucks, LeBron versus Giannis. Last year I had the Lakers versus the Celtics, so we miss out on the legendary matchup again. But I had the Bucks winning this one, and Dame finally getting his first one.
Beating his old team.
Hot Pockets beating his old team.
I don't think
Doc
LeBron
Rivers
let that shit
redemption.
happen, boy. LeBron on the other side of that, ain't no way dog for him walking out there with his chip. That'd be interesting.
But I got the Bucks and Giannis because Giannis is back and talking that bullshit, talking about if I don't play well, I'm gonna be traded. All the nonsense that he likes to say in the offseason. So that definitely means he's about to come out. He's about to come out eating. That definitely means he's about to come out eating. So I think Giannis has a big year this year. And he comes out Finals MVP with Dame in close competition. And he hits a couple big shots.
Man, I can see the Bucks making it. Like I said earlier, I feel like again, they just not for them at least for the past few years. They've been the talk of the East as far as being the top in the top. But it just feel like after last year, they're just not the it team anymore. So nobody really talking about them. But they still have Giannis. Like
it's probably because of Doc Rivers. I mean, truly, people just don't have faith in Doc Rivers teams, and then Dame, I think, in Giannis, it hasn't necessarily seemed like what's the word I'm looking for? It hasn't really necessarily seemed like just a warm entrance between the two of them. Like, I mean, it seems like they like playing with each other, but it doesn't necessarily seem like they're like.
It don't seem.
I want to play with each other.
It's a respect thing, but it's not like a. That is kind of crazy.
Man, let's.
We'll move on. We'll move on for now.
Wrap the show on that one. All right, y'all. We'll catch y'all next week with another week of the Speak Up Sports podcast. Also get to talk a little bit about the opening night from the NBA. We'll see you then.